Hello, hello. Welcome, grinders, to the 11th episode of The Grind. I am joined with Jaren, by Jaren, with who am I? Okay, hold on. I'm just going to try that again. You know, we're not going to cut it out, but hello, everyone. Welcome to the 11th episode of The Grind. I am joined by Jaren, as always.
Hello, guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been a good week. It's been a really good week in Summoner's War. Anything interesting happened for you, Keith? I'll let you go first. I have a lot, so.
I don't think so. I mean, you might know better than me. I got a Blade Rune that I kept. I think. I didn't summon anything. I didn't.
You did too. You got a 5-star lightning this week.
Did I? What did I? 5-star lightning.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Alicia? Because that was last week.
No. You got a Leica, right? That was this week, wasn't it?
Fuck, dude. I totally forgot. Yeah, guys, I had a lit week. I summoned my second Leica. And now my profile is fully complete with dupe Rocky, dupe Leica.
Nice. GC.
So, yeah. So thank you for that reminder. Yeah, I did have great summoning luck this week, guys. I summoned a Nat 5, Leica, who I know is great from experience because I already have one.
Yeah.
That is fully deviled and ready to go. So that's cool. I now have a storage Leica. And
the fact that you deviled him and summoned a dupe.
What? The fact that I deviled what?
The fact that you deviled Leica and then you've summoned a dupe so quickly is also just leaves a bitter taste, you know.
Well, the hilarity is between my account and your account, assuming we both have been playing the same amount of time, basically. We have 3 Leicas and 3 Rockies, and I just happen to have 2 of each of those.
Yeah.
But it's could we get some unique monsters? But whatever, I'm not salty. A Nat 5 is a Nat 5. I'd rather have a dupe Leica than a fucking fire mummy or whatever, you know what I mean? Than a random 3-star who cares, you know what I'm saying? So
sure.
I forgot entirely that I summoned that Leica though until you reminded me. So you have a better idea than me. Got a Blade Rune, got a Leica.
You gonna put that Blade Rune on your dupe Leica?
I don't think so. I'm not going to put any runes on that Leica for a long time. I did get a new best time in Giants with my level 35 Galleon, which is 38 seconds. And then I also...
hold on. Now, was this B5 or was it B10?
No. B10 was 38 seconds then. I got really stoned. And I accidentally ran B5 with the same team, and I got a 25-second time, and I posted it in our Discord, and I was like, guys, why am I so fucking good? Yep. And then it immediately became clear that it was B5 and not B10, but I did get a 38-second B10 time.
The best part...
We've gotten, 19 seconds B5 times now? Look at the event, man.
The best part about the whole thing was, Keith mentioned on one of the podcasts that he wanted more memes and quickly became the meme as everyone started posting their B5 speed times and trying to pass it off like it was B10. It was actually, it was really funny. I wish you guys could have been on our Discord to experience that because it was much funnier when you were there. But anyway, that was great. So
B5 speed runs are the new meta. It's where the real... the real speedruns happen. But that's it for me. So I don't know, man. Nothing else. Literally nothing else has happened for my luck. So let's get on to yours because you've had some crazy luck this week.
Well, yeah. Well, while we're talking about clearing dungeons and whatnot that we thought were different at the time, I got my first Toa hard clear, which I ran almost entirely thinking it was Toa normal. Now, there were signs, guys. There were definite signs that I was not in Toa normal, and I ignored every single one of them, and I powered through, and then I got to level 80, and I was like, what? This is hard? Why? What am I doing with my life? And I actually got stuck on 50, the Revenge Artemail boss stage. Yeah. And I was miserable. I was mad. I was angry. I don't get angry very much, but I was visibly upset because I couldn't pass this Toa normal Artemail 50 stage, and I was like, I should be able to nuke this boss without ever CCing anything, and I couldn't do it. And like, I honestly was just like questioning my life at that point. I was like, I'm the worst Summoner's War player of all time. But anyway, I powered through.
You accidentally you scammed yourself into clearing Toe Hard for the first time.
I really did. It honestly was freaking a lot.
I mean, maybe that says a lot about mindset, right? If you go in thinking, this is easy, I should easily be able to do this, then maybe it makes it a little easier for you. Or it clearly makes it more frustrating for you when you can't do it, but there's that flip side.
There were also stages later on where I was like, which stage was it? It was one I'd gotten caught on, I think 2 months ago. It was 3 of the wind elephants. I can't even think. Battle mammoth.
Yeah. Okay.
3 wind.
Like they cleanse all your dots and they're paired with like Hua or something, and then they.
No. They're paired with 2 wind imp, maybe imp champions already.
Okay.
I've already said I don't know what the difference is, so it was 2 of those, and like they have like that counterattack thing that they put up if they get to move, and like I couldn't beat it on hard like a couple, maybe 2 rotations ago. It might have even been last rotation. No, I got to 90 on last. Anyway, I got to that stage while I thought I was on normal, and I was like beating it with ease, and I was like, man, if this was hard, I probably wouldn't even be able to make it past this stage again. And like just stuff like that. So
it's honestly super hilarious, but like congratulations for being hard for the first time. That is like a huge accomplishment, and it has to feel really good. I mean, I'm sure it didn't feel good in the moment, but it has to feel really good now. Like that's a huge milestone. That's 2 LNDs every Toa reset, 2 legendaries, an extra 750 crystals, etc. Like there's a ton to be said for clearing Toa hard.
Yeah, and I got a dupe Zenobia from that scroll, and then from the achievement, actually, you get another legendary. I got the Water Death Knight, so he was a dupe.
Okay.
I already had him, but that boomerang I will definitely use to skill up whenever I pull probably Sabrina. I'll probably save it for Sabrina and use it for her instead of Maruna. I don't think I need one on Maruna, but yeah, it was awesome. It took me probably like half an hour to like beat the boss. I only had Hua as a damage dealer and like got the blue passive, and so and I didn't trust my team to auto it. I was like, she's gonna move, and then they're gonna summon the incarcerations again. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna fail. Now that I've gotten to the boss, because it actually took like 3 tries to get to the boss in the first place, because those Junos.
Okay, right. Like I've never had trouble with Junos, even before I used Tessa. I don't know what my deal was. You just nuke down those Annabelles and it's fine, usually. But obviously we've had clearly different Toa experiences.
Yeah, and the Leo Ragdoll stage wasn't really hard for me at all either.
Yeah, well, your Filaria cleaned up that stage, right? Like that was the MVP, was the Filaria on that stage? Yeah,
so to the new listeners, I have the Light Dryad. It was like my first L&D Lightning and only my second overall. So I put her in with Chasoon, Varad, Mav, Beretta, and then I actually used Varad's lead for that one. I think it might have been the only stage I did that on. And she just tanked all of the hits from the Ragdolls, and not only that, but she, accumulated dots through this process and was able to cleanse the dots and then put them on the Ragdoll. So it really, kind of made it a cakewalk, honestly. It took 3 tries.
It seems great. I have a sidebar. Am I ever allowed to be salty about L&D Lightnings ever again? Because it's been a really long time since I've had a meaningful L&D Lightning. But I didn't know if I'm just never allowed to be salty about it.
I think ever. You can get salty once every expected L&D Nat 5. So you've got a couple years until you can be salty again.
It's been I don't know, 450 days since I've gotten an L&D Lightning.
Ooh, and what was that L&D Lightning?
It was, it was good. We don't have to name it or anything.
Yeah,
but
it was like awesome.
450 days. It was awesome. It was awesome.
So
450 days ago.
Isn't Asima like a Toa king for you, like MVP basically?
Yeah, Asima is. I mean, I did make a review on Asima.
Oh yeah, that's
on the
right.
channel.
I actually forgot about that. I'll be honest.
And Toa is the place for Asima for sure.
Well,
but one day, I mean, like, it's like I know I shouldn't feel any disappointment when I don't get any good L&D lightnings, but I'm starting to get to that point where I do feel disappointment.
Right, and I understand that. I was talking to, and this might have been Kaput, is what he wants to go by the way. He told me to tell you. It formerly known as Zero. I think I might have been raiding with him, and it might have been someone else, but they had an Armana, and they made a comment about my Felleria, and they were like, "Oh, that's nice. It's got a good build, whatever." And I was grateful, like, "Oh man, thanks, I appreciate it." And I was like, "That's a nice Armana you've got there, like, you've got some nice L&D too."
Has the Amarna, I think. But
I don't know that I've raided with him. But anyway, I guess it doesn't ultimately matter. But yeah, I was like, that's a nice Armana you've got there. And he was like, yeah, but other people's Mons are always cooler than the ones that you have. And I thought that was interesting. So yeah, like it's always true. Like there's always, unless you've collected them all.
She's skilled up. I rune her every time. I use her every time to clear Toa. She's great. But
yeah. Well, speaking of OP Nat 5s, actually, on top of clearing Toa for the first time, you guys, I summoned a Perna this week. I still can barely believe it, honestly. Like, there's, there are Dream Nat 5s, and then there's Perna. And by that, I mean, like, I never let myself get hyped about Perna because he's so good. And I was like, I'm not going to let myself want this Nat 5 because I'm never going to get it, and I'm just going to be okay with that, So then I watched, the scroll was actually from the video, the short animated film scroll that they gave you for watching it or whatever. And yeah, so I saw the lightning. I was like, oh, okay. I hope it's Shayna. That's one of my thoughts. And then I saw it flares out and you can't really see. And I saw wings and they looked red. And I was like, there's no way I saw Perna. There's no way. It's probably, the wind one whose name I can't even remember right now.
Keshar. I've got one of him, and he is lovely for my storage.
Yeah.
Just so that he's hanging out in there. And
the best storage guardian that you've got.
I wish he was Perna so much. But go on with your Perna story.
I saw the red wings in all their glory once that fade had faded. Saw Fire Phoenix, and I actually made myself double check too. I was like, this is fire, right? Like, it's not wind. I'm not just colorblind. This is fire. Isn't it? So then I sat there and off for a second and started sending screenshots to Discord, and I sent one to you, and it didn't actually end up sending. So I sent it later.
I was the last person to find out.
And I actually instantly awoke him. I had saved up essence, and that was the week of we had some double XP free event, some time or whatever that last week. So I actually had
the
fodder
hour-long double XP in mana.
Yeah, so I'd been leveling stuff through that anyway. So I actually had decent amount of fodder. I popped a double XP, but got him 6-starred as well. So I'm on a roll. I think this is 3 6-stars in 3 weeks.
Wow, dude, that's nice, man. Speaking of 6-stars, really quick to add in, I 6-starred Rakan. I was telling you this story of how I was looking down my list of who to 6-star, and I decided not to 6-star Galleon because my team is fine without him 6-star. And then I gave up on Halea, and I didn't want to Cooney, and so I did Rakan. So he's 6-star, and I'm leveling him up now. I'm going to 6-star something else soon. It's probably going to be Varad, even though I'm not using Varad very much. I think it's worth 6-starring Varad for the times where I do use Varad and it's hard, I think. And then I can just set Varad as my rep and walk away and never have a rep ever again.
Yeah,
that I need to worry about.
I was wondering the other day why Varad wasn't your rep, and it's because he's not built. That's why.
Because he's level 35, and because I want to showcase my Duplica.
Well, I thought about my lightnings now, and I got Amelia like 1st of December. Varad actually for Christmas. I bought him with the trans pack. And then it was Bulwark and now Perna. So like,
yeah, your lightnings have been insane, I would say.
I would agree with that for sure. Yeah, man, I still can't believe I have a Perna. I'm still learning how to use it right now. It's built Violent Will, like 210 speed, like 40 or 50 crit rate and 160 crit damage or so. And then, like 28k HP, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a starter, It sounds like it has everything it needs. It's just like the difference between your Perna and a really good Perna is, every rune just has like twice as many stats on it.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it doesn't have any like blue runes on
it. Yeah, but I think that you're doing great regardless.
Yeah, so I also crafted a legend 6-star will rune, slot 2 speed.
Nice. That was really nice.
Yeah, so I rolled it and it got 2 flat attack rolls.
Ooh.
And 1 HP, 1 defense % for both of those. And the rune that's on my Perna right now was like a blue will rune that was HP and defense. And I actually grinded it once I put it on Perna because I was like, if he's going to have it, like, I'm just going to fucking grind it anyway. Well, I've compared the stats and like the blue rune is better than my legend rune even before the grinds.
The legend rune eventually, right?
I've actually already put 2 into it and they were both extremely disappointing. I crafted one from running raids. I ran enough practice raids runs to craft one and then actually bought one from the ancient magic shop. So
oh wow, okay. I guess is that like what is the, I mean, that's so off topic, but like ancient magic shop, like, I'm still saving for Elsharian, but is that what you're spending them on, you think? Do you think like reapps are the way to go, or do you think like stones are the way to go?
I think reapps, honestly, like I don't feel like there are any monsters that are holding me back progression wise, really.
I mean twins, but
I mean, I can clear those dungeons without twins though, and speed teams will help when I can pay attention, but I spend most of my time not paying attention. So
I think the eventual dream though is like having that, what is it, like double, what the crap is it, like double Lucian and then twins or something, like the team that, I don't know what it is, I don't know what that team is, it's pinned in our Discord, but that team where it's like a set of twins that like basically like one team that runs all 3 dungeons, and then you can consolidate your runes and never have to worry about it again. That's the dream, I think.
Is for sure the dream. I just feel like long term, like reapps I'll get more out of than summoning stones. The rates are so low with stones anyway, and like I even considered like efficiency of reapping a slot 2 speed rune. Like, do I really want to spend reapps on a rune that can't roll speed? So
I mean, it's rough, but it needs to have not double roll into flat stat, in my opinion.
I agree. I think a slot 2 will rune might be one of the sets that gets the pass on like
I would say will and violent get the pass on the on slot 2.
I agree. But yeah, so gosh, I guess that's all the exciting stuff that happened for me this week. At least I can't think of anything.
Well then, really quickly, I just wanted to go over something that I mean, I'm aware of, and I think a lot of people who listen are, but we were talking about it in Discord today. And I just wanted to put out a reminder to everyone, like, verify your email address, like, add that second password, make sure you're using, like, a unique password, basically, like, account security can be an issue. A guy joined our Discord recently who got hacked and has had some issues with it, but, everyone who's invested in the game should make sure they're doing everything on their own part, to make sure that their account is secure. So I just wanted, like, a little PSA out there, like, use that second password, make sure your email is verified, make sure you're not reusing passwords. There's no such thing as like free crystals, like don't click the links in chat, like don't try and get free nat 5s. Like if something sounds good, like too good to be true, it is. Don't get phished or give someone your password, but like also just use the built-in tools, like I maybe 6 months ago, I don't know how it was possible because I had like a ridiculously like long and unique password specifically for Summoner's War that had like too much entropy to be brute forced, and someone got through the first password on my account, and like I got an email saying that someone had gotten through it and failed my second password and this and that. But basically, if I hadn't had a second password on my account, I might have been hacked, 6 months ago. And like, I just wanted to throw like the PSA out there for everyone. Like, make sure you're doing everything that you can, and then obviously, if ComToUs has security issues, there's ways of, that's on them, A, but B, there's ways hopefully to recover your account the right way. And we've been talking to the student on Discord and giving him links and resources and stuff, and maybe he'll get his account back. That'd be really cool. But just as a whole, just if you guys are hearing the sound of my voice and you don't have a second password on your account or your email verified, like, go do that. Like, it's the email verification will at least like warn you that someone's like trying to log in or trying to do stuff. That like security code that gets emailed to you if someone gets through your first password, the two-factor, whatever, like all of that shit. Like, just go do it. Like, it's worth the 10-15 minutes of your time. Like, go to the Mobile Hive site and put it in there, because like, I mean, I know it's like a pain in the ass, and like you're probably like sitting there like melted into your couch or like dying because you didn't get enough coffee driving to work or something, but like it's worth the 10 or 15 minutes. Like, go to the bathroom at work and put security on your account, or like, just freaking take a shot of espresso and like just get it done. It will be worth it compared to losing your entire account.
Yeah. And I want to add too that a lot of people will say, oh, I've paid for packs or whatever, and that adds security and I can get my account back or whatever. At the end of the day though, your account can still get taken from you for a short period of time, and the recovery process takes time, where you wouldn't have to go through any of that if you go through two-factor auth. So
yeah, and honestly, that's like such a lazy way of protecting your account, because what you're doing is you're overloading the already clearly incompetent and overworked support from ComToUs by being like, oh, well, I bought, it's like, don't let you, like, you don't need to be a support ticket. You know what I mean? If you just go through and you do the right things for your account, then otherwise you're overloading the system for people who did do everything and still ended up getting hacked. So,
and at the end of the day, that's saying that, like, however much you spent, $30 is worth 5 minutes of your time or whatever, however long it takes to set that up, which in most cases, I would say it's probably not, at least not for me anyway. And most of the gamers that I know would probably agree with me. So, anyway, yeah, that's a good point. Definitely set that up, because it will save you a lot of heartache for sure. Anyway, past that one too, we want to talk about the Rune review. So we started this segment last week and we covered Swift. One of the things that I think that we're going to add, and we'll actually go back and talk about Swift as well this week, but we're going to kind of go a little more in depth into what we use to determine if we're going to keep or sell a rune, kind of, at the dungeon screen when it pops up. And this is by no means like a comprehensive rune guide, and it is by no means a blanket statement for every player in Summoner's War, because honestly, what you keep and what you sell is going to be very progression dependent. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. But this is just kind of how we go about it, and it's only meant to kind of help you figure out how you want to go about it. And at the end of the day, hopefully this podcast can help teach something, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this week we discussed we're going to stick with all of the Giants runes, I think, first, and on that same note, we're going to stick with main sets. So this week, in light of me clearing Toa, we're going to talk about Despair runes. But before I do, well, actually, we'll cover Swift when we talk about what we keep and sell for Despair. So, you get Despair runes from Giants. You can get them on any floor. B10 drops, 5 and 6 star runes of rare or higher quality. I actually don't know where you get them
You can't get them outside of Giants.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
They are unique to Giants. Similar to Violent runes for dragons.
Yeah.
You cannot acquire them outside of the dungeon. But, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so tell us about Despair runes, Jaren. Why are they good? What do they do? Where do people typically use them?
So Despair runes, they give you a I'm not looking at it. 22% chance to stun when
25.
you. Oh, okay. There you go. See.
Yes.
25%.
Violent is 22% chance to violent.
There we go.
But despair is 25% chance to stun.
So yeah, you get a 25% chance to stun your enemy when you hit them in any way. It has to deal damage, from my understanding. So like, what is it? Thrain and Hemos, when they use their S2, that won't stun anybody because it doesn't technically deal damage on the move.
I don't know anything about Thrain or Hemos, but like if you put them on like a Spectra and you use Spectra's AoE, slow, because it doesn't deal damage, I guess, like Thrain or Hemos.
It's the same concept.
Or like even like if you were to put them on whatever, that's it, Spectra. That's my example. I was going to say something about but for the other way, like early game where people will use Despair runes is they'll put them on their Colleen, and because Colleen's AoE does deal damage, it will stun. By comparison. Colleen, damn it, man, what's her name? Shannon?
Yeah, okay, I was just to say Shannon.
Don't worry about it. Colleen, Shannon, they're both 2 stars. They're good.
Yeah.
Early game.
Don't
put Despair on Colleen, but on Shannon.
Yeah, that was my first Despair set, was on Shannon, actually, for Giants, to try and help. I actually tried to do it too early. I couldn't get the stats I needed into Shannon to run a Despair set.
My first Shannon build was triple energy, and it was great. It was everything I needed it to be. But eventually you'll put Despair on your Shannon before you stop using Shannon.
It can really, make your runs a lot safer, getting some of those stuns. And then... even later than that, not even late, but a little further into progression, you can start using them on Toa units to help you clear Toa normal. Because the entire idea for the newer listeners with Toa is to make sure that none of the waves ever really move. Like, you want them to be stunned so that when they do get their attack bar full and take a turn, they don't actually get to do anything. So, you're going to be using them on, she was my first. I think I actually tried Vero on Despair to help get more stuns. That might have been dumb. I don't know. But
probably
right
bad,
now,
since Vero's damage scales with speed, and they already have an AoE stun. But but sure.
So I currently even I have my Mantura, who I used on every floor of Toa, normal and hard. Mantura is ruined on Despair. Basalt is also on Despair, and I use Basalt in quite a few stages as well.
Yeah, so, good candidates for Despair are things with AoE. So you'll see people put like Lapis, and by AoE I mean, area of effect. I don't know how newbie we're going here, but basically an attack that hits more than one enemy is a great candidate for Despair. It'll only stun on the first hit. So if there's like a multi-hit, it doesn't mean that you have, if you have an attack that hits 4 times, it doesn't mean that it has 4 chances at 25%. It's either it stuns or it doesn't, 25% per attack. Period. Yeah. Things that hit multiple enemies are good for Despair. So like Beretta for Toa, which is like your main Toa unit that you'll always have and use. They're almost always on Despair, not only because like their single target attacks can sometimes get clutch stuns and save you, but because they do AoEs and add, just lay down stuns. You'll see in PvP, you'll see strippers, you'll see things like Soha or the Oracles, or things that like damage dealing strippers they'll be on Despair, because they can basically like have a chance at like stripping will runes and stunning. You'll see things like, basically, if it has an attack that hits a bunch of people, and you can set it up in a way that they're not going to have immunity, whether it's in PvE or in PvP, then Despair is a good candidate. That's the main place.
Yeah, and I would say the most common in the late game for sure is going to be like Oracles, Prahas and Junos. Maybe not so much Junos as much as you see Praha, but for sure. And then Soha as well.
I see Juno on Despair all the time. I don't know what else people would put her on. But.
I mean, I've seen them on like what seems like Swift anyway, with as fast as they were, just to try and cycle through any
maybe I guess
bad effects.
Also,
to heal.
I have my Poseidon on Despair for Toa. I have my Aslan on Despair. Anything with AoEs for Toa, but like Poseidon as a Despair unit is pretty good. And then you'll have tanky support builds on Despair, which is where you use them in PvP or PvE most of the time. But then you'll also have like Despair nukers. Like in Special League, people will put Lapis on like a nuker Despair set. Like sometimes I'll put my Aslan on a nuker Despair set. There's places and times and places where having like an AoE, I mean, like if you think about it, right? Like if somehow you either outspeed or they don't have will, or you strip and then you just swing in, 25% chance to stun each of those units is really big. So like, if you're swinging into 4 dudes, you're going to stun one of them most of the time. And sometimes you get like a double or triple stun, and it's like soul crushing for the enemy, to be stunned and then have whatever effects or debuffs are on them, and all of that. It's good. I think Despair is a great set because you can always use it. You're always going to have some units that are going to use Despair, even if they're just PvE units. But like there's PvP uses for Despair. So like getting really like high end late game PvP Despair runes early game is fine because to use them on a stripper. And otherwise, 2 or 3 of your units in Toa are always going to be on Despair, whether you're doing normal or hard, doesn't matter. So there's use for Despair all across the board forever.
Yeah. So on to like what I look for in Despair runes. I tend to break up most rune sets by their slot. Main sets, I'm a little more lenient on slot 1, 3, and 5, and a little more harsh on 2, 4, and 6, just because 2, 4, and 6 have the meat, I guess, of your stats with most builds anyway. So I'm looking for personally 6-star 2, 4, and 6 runes. I'll only keep a 6-star rune that's blue if it has probably a max speed roll in it. I don't know. I might keep a 5 rune if it's got like a decent like other substat too, like HP percent or defense percent or whatever. A decent percentage based rune to give it some kind of synergy is like with its main stat. But I'm selling most blue and purple 5-star runes. I'm selling all blue 5-star runes and most purple ones just because they won't roll speed or whatever.
Any purple rune, regardless of set, when I get it, has to basically have speed and has to have 2 other good stats. So that like, and even then I still basically want it to roll into speed, but that's my standard regardless of the set. But Despair doesn't make much of a difference either way. But yes, right.
And I agree. I'll keep 5-star legend runes if they have synergy. And by synergy, I mean like their stats need to work together. Like if it's, a slot 4 rune with attack, crit rate, crit damage, HP, I'm probably going to keep that rune, roll it out, see how well it rolled, and maybe even grind speed on it afterwards, even a 5-star rune.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems a little generous for me. Like I'd probably keep them, but I'd keep them in the hey, I got this rune screen. But then when I power up, like I look at the rune and I'm like, what would this rune need to be for me to use it? And I think about that a lot. And like, what would it have to roll? And like, so for that, like that rune that you gave as an example, I guess it like would probably have to roll like hardcore into like crit rate and crit damage for me to even consider it. And then I'd have to consider the set. There's like so much like 5-star, honestly, 5-star legendary runes are like, they're kind of a disaster. Yeah. Like they're so hard to, like, I'd rather take, like if I had a 5-star legendary rune with like all the right stats on it versus like honestly, dude, like a blue slot 4 crit damage rune with 2 good stats on it. I would take that,
sure.
Like a 6-star.
I probably would too.
It's a way better rune. Like it's like 5-star legendary runes are really tough, but yeah. I mean, Despair. The nice thing about Despair, speaking about stats on it, is that as long as the stats on the rune have synergy with themselves, and what I mean by that is like speed with defensive stats and accuracy, or nuker stats, and accuracy goes for either way. It can be speed and defensive stats or nuker stats. You can use it on a despair rune because there are nukers that use despair runes, and there are supportive supportive monsters that use despair runes. So that's the nice thing about despair, is basically your general rules of thumb for runes basically apply to despair. Like it's not like, oh, this is a, I mean, and it's not like a strict rule, but like, there's some runes like an energy rune with stats on it. Unless they're superb, you're going to have a really hard time finding a place for. But a despair rune with good nuker stats, you're going to find a place for it. A despair rune with good support stats, you're going to find a place for it, as long as the stats on the rune have synergy with themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of push that point even a little further, actually, two of my best nuker runes are despair. I have a slot 1, and it's like my highest efficiency rune right now, I think, and then I actually have a slot 6 that is insane as well, attack percent rune. So I've kept them. They were both legend when I got them. They rolled really well. But one thing I do want to point out that I've actually learned, and I could absolutely be misremembering, but I don't think I am, and I'm actually going to pull it up because I do have it right here. Crit rate does not. Yeah, it does. Just kidding. So completely wrong about where I was going with that. So crit rate actually maxes on a 6-star rune. So this is what got me confused. It maxes on a 6-star rune at 6% per roll, where crit damage maxes at 7. On a 6-star.
Crit rate I always treat the same as speed.
Yeah.
Crit rate and speed have the same rules on a 6-star rune.
On crit damage, however, for 5-star, it's actually 3 to 5 as well. So crit damage actually gets a bit of a bigger window once you are talking 6-star runes to be a little more efficient than 5-star even. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, you've got 3 to 5 as a 5-star rune, and then 4 to 6 or 4 to 7 rather for a 6-star rune. So there's it's got more opportunity to roll higher than crit rate even.
Yeah, the range is higher. There's a
range. That's what I was going to say.
I guess that is. I understand.
And
picking up what you were putting down.
I thought that was kind of interesting because it just, I don't know that it'll necessarily affect what runes you keep or what runes you sell, but it just goes to show, like, even if, in my opinion, a 5-star rune can really be almost comparable if it gets good crit rate rolls to a 6-star rune that doesn't get great crit rate rolls. If you triple roll crit rate on a 5-star rune, for instance, and it maxes out, then you're at 20 crit rate, which is insane for any one single rune to have. But yeah, this, as far as despair goes, like, it's really difficult for me to keep a rune that isn't 6-star. And I won't keep any runes at all anymore that aren't 6-star for 246. Maybe a solid speed legendary rune, depending on the set, but even then it's kind of difficult.
It's going to be a real unique rune for me to keep it in 246 if it's not 6-star.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then on to Swift too. A lot of the same rules really do apply. I will roll Swift runes with speed on them a little more leniently, just because of the set bonus to speed, because they're going to be on my attack bar boosters, and like I'm still pushing to get my max speed ceiling high. So yeah, I'll keep runes with speed on them and roll them a little more, but I still won't keep a blue rune that's 5-star, and I won't keep probably a purple rune that has a min roll and speed and try to max it out either. But once
Swift is worth risking it a little bit more for speed rolls, but otherwise I think basically all the same rules apply. Like, you can have Swift nukers and Swift supports, and Swift kind of follows the same rules as despair, I would say, except you want to lean more towards speed. Like, a Swift rune without speed is likely not great.
And it's funny you say that. I have a Swift rune without speed on my chilling, of all places. It's a slot 2 as well. He's built for hybrid but no speed.
Slot 2.
Yeah, so he's got a slot 2 attack percent rune, crit damage,
No
slot
speed
4,
on
and then
it.
HP.
I would just stick to my guns of what I said. Everything you just said about your chilling does not actually prove any exception to my rule. That's just
I don't think that it prove an exception, especially for chilling necessarily. But if you look at the rune, it is actually a decent rune, even in a broken set, which you might use more in like siege and whatnot on monsters. So, I wouldn't say not to keep a 6-star legendary slot 2 attack percent rune. No matter the set, I think that you can probably find a place. But I think I rolled like 18 crit rate on it or something. I can't recall off the top of my head, but it has good stats, I promise. Or I
sure. I mean, it would probably be better if one of those stats was speed.
Yeah.
But, also, I might turn into a robot. My internet is being weird and lagging a little bit. So you were a robot, a lot of that, but maybe not. Don't worry about it. If I'm not,
You sound just slightly robotic. I could still kind of hear what you were saying, but
great.
Yeah. So anyway, past the rune review, I'll talk while your internet sorts itself out.
Perfect.
We've got a new event coming up, and we threw a lot of shade at Summoners War developers, and I think they heard us, and so they gave us this awesome new event. So the gist of it is, you get a Nat 4 of your choice, along with a Reap Stone and also a Devilmon, along with, I think, a couple scrolls, quite a bit of energy. Like, overall, just a really decent event.
Could you want anything more from an event? Like, Nat 4 of your choice plus a Reap and a Devilmon. Like, can you think of any, like, give me a Nat 5 of my choice. That's the only better event that there would be.
Yeah.
Like, this is literally the best event.
Maybe, if they were feeling extra generous, throwing an L&D scroll on top of it.
But right. Maybe an L&D Nat 4 of your choice, I think, would be a better event.
Actually, that's, now we're talking. Now we're getting somewhere. Anyway, while we're talking about things that'll never happen, can I get $1 million? No. So
that'd be pretty cool if they gave all their players $1 million.
Yeah, I think it would too.
But
$1 million mana, maybe.
I'll take this event while we wait for the $1 million or the L&D Nat 5s. It's a great event.
It is.
It's very great.
It's superb.
Ideal.
So yeah, we had a little bit of shade thrown from the last event. They didn't end up extending it.
No, it's. I mean, all that shade still stands, in my opinion. I know I was the one throwing.
I agree.
But they have not changed my opinion on that last shit event. But I mean, like I said last time, like that last event didn't make me feel like Come To Us or shit developers. They just had their head up their ass when they created that last event, and they happened to not have their head up their ass when they created this event, like the majority of the events that they've created since I started playing. So yeah, I'm glad that whatever happened, they like threw the guy out the window who came up with that event, and they hired a new dude, and they're back on track. Whatever. I don't know what happened, but I'm glad this event is good.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, Nat 4 of your choice. I know a lot of people are going for like solid progression monsters. There's a lot of like good information on Reddit, people kind of breaking down like a tier list of like monsters you should aim for, which I don't remember that from the last event, but it wasn't a Nat 4 of your choice. Like we had a similar event for those of you that remember, and you were limited to like 10 summons instead of the 40 that we get this time. So yeah, they didn't really have that because I guess it really wasn't as necessary. You get what you get, so to speak. But thinking about that,
I haven't looked at any of those tier lists. It's got to be like, if you don't have a Lucian, take Lucian, right? And then if you do have a Lucian, take twins, right?
Yeah,
is that
pretty much.
If you have all of that, take Skogul. Like, I don't know.
Yes, you've got a great idea of it. It's basically Lucian, Shayna. And then below those two, it's Sabrina, Talia, Skogul, and then below those, it was like second Lucian.
Yeah.
So, that's.
Have you thought about second Lucian? Because
not
I know
once.
I know you're gonna do a twin, but
Yeah, I, I that's a lie. I thought about it for like 2 seconds, and I was like, a second Lucian isn't going to give me a below a 2 minute Dragons run, so it can
True.
fuck off.
Yeah, no, I think Twins is the right call for sure. Like one Lucian, you gotta have. Like you gotta have one Lucian, but
And
beyond one
see,
Lucian, you know.
I actually started thinking about it like from that perspective. We actually, and it was a new player in our Discord that was like, "Hey guys, I don't have hardly any Nat fours. What should I be aiming for?"
Yeah.
I think Twins are the answer before Lucian. To be honest, like Lucian is only really usable for newer players when you can consider running like faster
No, Lucian has
Giants
a
teams.
+1 in your first Giants team. Like in all of the alt accounts I had, 2 or 3 of them had Lucian, and I was literally able to just pop him in as my +1. Like instead of Sig, instead of anything, you know what I mean? Like it was like the basic team. Like
Yeah,
I used Vero on all of them, but it was like Vero, Shannon, Bella, Bernard, Lucian, and that was a 2-minute team, you know. And if you increase runes, it's like can be even faster, like minute 45, minute and a half, just
yeah.
with Lucian in there
Well,
with shit runes because he's got the elemental advantage, he's got the AOE's, and it's not that awful, especially with attack buff, to get him to a point where he can clear waves, and that speeds your runs up incredibly.
yeah, and I could agree with that. I still think Sig is safer at
Yeah,
first because of the
no,
lead
I
and
love
then
Sig over
the
Lucian,
control.
but you gotta
Um,
fuse Sig.
yeah, and that's true too. So I think honestly, at the end of the day, in my opinion, long term, you'll get more use out of having a decent set of twins than you will a Lucian.
Like
Yeah, I think you'll get through the progression faster
I
when
strongly
you move to
disagree though,
Lucian.
because Lucian is the go-to for arena, right? For clearing arena, Lucian is great as a leader in your Necro team. When you eventually get to Necro, Lucian is great at clearing like trash. You can use Lucian as your farmer, and he is like the critical +1 for Giants. Whereas Twins are not going to help you in Giants. And
Yeah,
by the time, and you should run Giants for 6 months anyway when you start the game, and most people won't. But by the
yeah,
time you're like, you should, if you get a Lucian, you can have a speed Giants team basically with a Lucian, like a semi. I'm talking like a Giants team with just Lucian,
sure.
and you can run Giants with just that Lucian until you have everything you need to run any other dungeon.
Yeah, well, and I agree with that to a degree. Like I obviously don't have twins, and I'm having to run dragons to farm violent runes, and I guess I don't have to, but like
No,
I
you
need the
definitely don't
runes.
have to. You want to.
And yeah, I don't have either of the water twins, and I don't have Shayna, so like I'm still at least two Nat fours away from getting those lightnings and being able to run those dungeons. I think that if you look at what the twins can do overall, um, I just I personally I think
But
that
you
they
pull
would
one
really help.
twin from this event, right? You pull Shayna from this event,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to get another twin to use Shayna,
Right. And
and
I
you
think
should
for
be
the
running. If you don't have Lucian, your Giants team is suffering no matter what, and you should be running a lot of Giants, regardless. Like think about your account. Like think about if you didn't have a Lucian, how much pain you'd be going through with your Giants team
oh
still.
man, if I didn't have a Lucian,
Yeah.
I would have no speed teams at all. I'd be building carts for sure.
There's no question that people who don't have Lucian should get Lucian.
I definitely agree that if they don't have one, they should get it. I'm just making the argument that Shayna might be a decent choice because it also comes with a speed lead for arena, which is great. And you said Lucian really helps a lot in arena, and I really can't argue with that. Lucian's phenomenal for quickly being able to mow people down. But still, it's not impossible to do without Lucian. You're not gonna like. I don't think that you'll suffer necessarily from not having him in arena.
It's such a struggle. Like pulling a twin because maybe down the line you'll get the other twin to run giant like dungeons that aren't giants, compared to pulling a Lucian and immediately basically enabling your Giants team to do great for as long as you're willing and able to run it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a question. I definitely know that Shayna is a great choice, but I don't think there's any question that Shayna would ever be better than Lucian if you didn't have either.
Yeah,
Even if you had a Sabrina ready, I wouldn't pull a Shayna from the event.
Really?
Correct. Yeah, because you need to run giants. You need to farm giants, and then you need to. In Sabrina Shayna aren't going to run dragons for you. Like you don't just throw Sabrina Shayna into a dragons team. Like you have to actually have runes and rune quality and like the other support monsters to run dragons.
That's fair. I mean, I can.
And they're not going to enable necro either, especially without an attack lead like Lucian or like getting the light cowgirl or whatever. Like they're like Sabrina Shayna. Like they can't just enable a dungeon for you unless you've done the work and have the runes,
I mean, sure, but in a way they do just enable the dungeons because the rune requirements are so much lower if you do happen to have the twins than it is for other speed teams that are running
not if
similar
you don't
times.
have the Lucian, right? Not if you're not running 2-minute giants teams already and have farmed the crap out of that to get all the other runes you need.
It's been so long since I've been there. It's hard for me to say. I mean, I was running probably minute 40, minute 50 with, Sig and instead of a Lucian, but yeah, Lucian brought it down to like a minute 15 when I first put him in, minute 20 maybe max.
Yeah, like even if you're the guy who's already fused Sig, you throw a Lucian in your giants team and you don't have it, it makes giants like a whole nother world. Like you're all of a sudden like you're able to literally stare at your screen and watch it complete a giant's run because it goes so fast.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's I mean I like the twins are great and they do enable things, but they enable things after you have quality. And if you're so early game that you don't have a Lucian and your giants team is suffering or you're running 2-minute giants teams, then I don't think there's any question there. I very much, and this is coming from someone who a long time to get a Lucian, has twins, has all of these things. Like I think that you might be putting twins a bit up on a pedestal because
maybe
even with the twins, you still have to have the rune quality and the team to make the speed team happen, And like you're at that place where you have the Verd and the Galleon and the whatever built and you're ready to go. But if you weren't at that place, then pulling twins wouldn't do anything.
That's a good point. Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. If I didn't have those units built already, it would probably not serve me at all to have the twins. So, well, with that said, I think I think Lucian is a great choice. I don't know that picking a twin would be considered wrong if you go with Shayna. That's my opinion, but you guys can also figure out that for yourself. I'm sure you have opinions as well. But yeah, then if you have both of those though, then your pool really opens up to kind of what you can pick. And that is a whole new door to like, it's hard to even talk about once you have really those two. One could argue like Skogel's probably like third on that list or, I say past those two.
I'm for Talia because I don't have Talia, and
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the things that Talia does to bosses.
Oh, it's also insane.
Let me know if I'm a robot again, but I mean, yeah, like so. I have Shayna, Sabrina, and Lucian's. Talia is what I'm taking because so the way someone phrased it was like Talia finishes the boss from 50%.
Yeah,
exactly. That's literally what Talia does. Like I'm going to be replacing Lynn with Talia if that gives you an idea. You know what I mean? Like Lynn is a great nuker, but apparently, from what I've seen, Talia does the job just as well, if not better, because they're a twin.
Yeah, that's insane to me too. But yeah, so yeah, all of that, like the whole concept of picking what you have based now, like you've picked Talia as your target, just comes from your own progression. So it's really hard to dig into that for everybody else. But yeah, other twins are a great choice. Like Talia, Maruna. It's hard to say the Wind twins because I haven't seen them as much. And I have one, and I'm not a big fan of the Wind Boomerang personally. But
I mean, they're fine if you have them. Like if you pull a Wind twin, I'd build it for the places you can use it, like rifts and this and that. But
yeah,
you can survive. You can do everything without Wind.
Yeah, and I will say like Zenobia's S3 is very interesting. I've gotten into a situation where I like what it does is it like extends the time of harmful effects. So like had a using her in like lab, had like a 5-turn stun on somebody at one point.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's like, it's nice. And like, I'm sure there are uses out there that I'll end up finding later that are really cool or niche or whatever. But yeah, past that, it's hard to say. Like I actually considered, before I knew the summons were unlimited, I was like, I'm going to go fire because I also don't have a Lisa. I don't have a, what is it? A Huadam? I don't know.
Wahi?
Huahi? Yeah, the fire sky
dancer. Sky dancer, yes, Huahi.
Yeah, so I didn't have one of those either. And if I were to pull Shayna, I would honestly consider, before I actually pulled Lisa this weekend too. Damn it, I forgot about that at the beginning.
Nice.
I pulled a Lisa though.
You're not even going to build Lisa though, are you? Because you already have a Rage Cleanser?
I probably won't. Not until the HOH, the anniversary HOH, if we get like Olivia as a choice, depending on who the other ones are. I've seen Olivia's going to be up there though. I might run that HOH and then build her with like those skill ups.
Yeah, just to like she have has to be skilled up to be used. Like, but honestly, I don't know if Valeria is worse than her. I mean, I guess Lisa technically, like, she reduces cooldowns and brings things to attack with her. So she could be like, even if she's worse at cleansing, which I think objectively she is worse than Valeria at cleansing, she could be better for DPS. So maybe eventually she's the way to go. But
and like I'll have a second raids team eventually, so like I will build her, but not immediately. It's just gonna happen as it happens, kind of deal.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I was considering. Like I was thinking about like what I needed Nat 4s that I didn't have. Lisa was on that list. Lisa's a strong Nat 4.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I was like, go fire. I can get a Shayna at best, and if not, then I'll get one of these. And then they were like, oh, it's unlimited summons, by the way, or not unlimited, but like 40 of them. So you can pick whatever you want. So obviously I'm going Shayna, but
anyway. which is the right call, and I'm really excited for you to have twins because you're very much beyond the point where you need them.
I agree, and I still don't have Sabrina or Talia, so
Yeah, but you have options, like now I do. You're getting there, and that's the thing. Is like, I mean, I have usable twin sets, and I don't have Talia. Like Talia's going to be, incredible. Well, finally, when I get her, but I'm still using my twins and doing great with them right now without her.
And I'm probably going to use Shayna and Maruna in the next Toa rotation.
Yeah,
ideally.
No, definitely. I mean, that's the way to go. Like Shayna and Maruna are in Toa. Like mine are ruined like crap right now, but and we didn't talk about it much, but I've been using Jean in Toa, and Shayna, Maruna, Jean are like such a great core for a Toa team. It's actually incredible because Jean just tanks everything, and Shayna and Maruna just go ham and stun and just obliterate everything. So it's out of control. So I'm excited to see you use those.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Well, I just actually sent this in a message, but we are approaching that 1 hour mark, but we did have one more topic to cover. Do you want to hit that this time or maybe save it for the next go round?
I say we save it for the next go round. I like to keep it around an hour. Talking Discord 2 hours or more, but I like to keep it about an hour, and I think this topic will be just as relevant next time. There might actually be even more insightful commentary on it.
Yeah. Well, then we'll go ahead and tease that, and then we'll call it, I think. But yeah, next week we're gonna talk about Pokemango, I think is how you said it. We've referenced his material in the past. He posted a new RTA analysis. It's not even like a tier list. It's just an analysis that breaks down, it looks to be like probably the top 30, 40, maybe 50 RTA monsters. 50, yeah.
I think it is, but I'm, whatever. Go on.
It shows their, it shows their win percentage, their ban rates, a lot of really useful information. We're going to go over that a little bit and kind of dig into RTA, and might even have a guest speaker for the first time, one of our listeners. Going to see if we can arrange that as well. So got a lot of good stuff for next week, and we'll catch you guys then.
Perfect. Yeah. And again, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I hope that you are learning stuff and enjoying things. And, if you want to be more involved with us and with the community, go ahead and join Discord. But, we really appreciate you guys for listening and tuning in and, giving us your opinions, making this cast worth doing and making Summoners worth playing for us. So I really appreciate all of you guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. And the Discord is really it honestly is one of the best part about all of this for me. So if you guys haven't joined yet, you don't know what you're missing out on. There's a lot of good conversation and stuff that happens. And, me and Keith are both fairly active in there. So, it's a good chance to yell at us as well. But we'll see you guys next week.